Breaking news tonight, joining us live from our West Coast newsroom with the very latest on this scandal unfolding, the largest in history of this alleged college admission scam, as well as news from the ongoing Jussie Smollett case. Fox News correspondent Trace Gallagher. Wow, that shocked a lot of people.
Operation Varsity Blues apparently began back in 2011 and ended last month, where 33 parents so far paid anywhere from $200,000 to $6.5 million to get their kids into elite colleges. Court records say the parents paid a college and career advisor named William Singer, who in turn would bribe coaches, administrators, even testing centers. The goal was to either cheat to inflate SAT and ACT scores or make non-athletes into star athletes. For example, the feds say actress Lori Loughlin and her fashion designer husband Massimo Giannulli paid $500,000 to have their two daughters recruited to the University of Southern California's crew team, even though the girls had never rowed. Actress Felicity Huffman allegedly paid $15,000 to boost her daughter's SAT score, and lo and behold, by cheating, it went up 400 points. Huffman is out on $250,000 bond. It's unclear if Loughlin has bonded out yet, but both face felony mail fraud charges that could get them 20 years. Those are the same charges that actor Jussie Smollett could face. Today, Smollett, accused of orchestrating a hate crime hoax, was back in court on 16 felony counts of lying to authorities, but Smollett is sticking to his story, saying he was attacked by two men who yelled racist and homophobic slurs and shouted, "This is MAGA country." Today, a judge ruled that during his next court appearance, cameras will be allowed, to which his attorney said, good. That way the public can see the evidence and lack thereof.
All right, Trace, thank you. Here with reaction to former Florida Circuit Court judge, host of The Whistleblower, Judge Alex Ferrer. Also with us, Harvard Law School professor Alan Dershowitz. He wrote an introduction to the Constitution. Will also write an introduction to the Mueller report right after it's released. Professor, let me begin with you. Both of my kids are athletes, and they started when they're 7. They traveled the country. They and every one of their friends, they all got recruited to college for their sport. And they all worked very hard. It is a grind. The kids that study, that get 1600s on the SATs or 35 or 36 on the ACTs, I hear this, they can face 20 years in jail?
Well, look, I think the colleges have some responsibility here. They allowed coaches, unchecked, to decide who comes in, and it was an invitation to scandal. If you have one person who can make the decision to admit somebody, it's very easy to bribe one person. You know, I think one of the reasons that Harvard was not involved, I'm proud of having been at that institution, is because admissions are made by a committee. And even if you bribe one or two people, no evidence anybody at Harvard was ever bribed, you'd have to bribe 7 or 8 people, and that would never happen.
They don't give out athletic scholarships.
Have some responsibility.
I'm pretty sure they don't give out.
They're not supposed to.
Right.
They don't, but they still do admit students. Look, the Harvard basketball team has been doing very well, and not only athletically, but also academically. But, you know, they don't give scholarships, but they give preferences to athletes. They give preferences to cello players. They give preferences to a great many people. They give preferences based on race. One of the problems is that no one flunks out of college anymore. No one gets a D, no one gets a C, and therefore there's no check. So you could get students who are unqualified, and they'll still sail through college with their B or B pluses.
And I'm sure as a professor you see the difference. I mean, it's got to be very transparent. Judge, I want to get your thoughts on this, and do you think the penalty could be that severe?
No. I think you're always going to hear the maximum because that's the number that gets people's attention. No judge is going to give the moms or the dads 20 years in prison for this, but Is it a serious crime? It absolutely is. And let's make a distinction here for the people who are saying, oh, come on, what parent wouldn't go out of their way to try to get their son or daughter a job or into a university? We're not talking about moms who called a sorority sister and said, hey, could you write a letter of recommendation for my daughter, or could you get her an interview with a college or with a firm? We're talking about parents who, if the allegations are true, committed serious felony, bribed people to get their children a spot in the school, which kicked out somebody who really deserved that spot. And in order to get the tax breaks for that, actually paid the money through this front that's supposedly a charity, so they could then take a tax deduction for the fraudulent payments that they made, the bribery payments they made, which is absolutely outrageous.
But
you're going to find out immediately.
There's no
have the academic
justification.
chops, or that you're going to know if they played the sport before in 2 seconds.
But there's no
If you're
justification
really
for arresting Felicity Huffman at gunpoint with people with their guns drawn.
I'm just running
it's
out
like
of
the
time. I
Stone
hate to
thing.
cut
Come
you
on, a little bit of common sense.
I agree with that.
All right. Thank you both. When we come back, our villain of the day doesn't want you to eat beef. We'll tell you why.